There are 9 reasons why we left classical conversations after 4 years, and some of them nearly wrecked our homeschool. I'm Ashley Buffa. I've been homeschooling for over 18 years. I have 11 children. I've already graduated 3 of them. So when I tell you what I have learned about CC, it's not just theory, it's actually battle tested. And I want to save you some of the pain and angst that we went through as a family. So let's talk about it. But before we really dive in, I want to make sure that everybody understands that I am speaking from my own experience. I've also read a lot of things and I've talked to a lot of people. But if you are happy at classical conversations, then I am happy for you. This video is really not for you. I don't want to instill doubt in you if you have none. If you are being well served at classical conversations, then please, by all means, just stop tuning in now because this really isn't for you. There are some campuses that are absolutely lovely in every single way, but then there's a lot of other campuses that are not. I actually don't have experience with one of the campuses that is fantastic in every way, but if you do, I'm really actually happy for you. So I just want to go ahead and say that right now. If you're happy where you are, please don't watch this video. Point number 1, faux accomplishment curriculum. The CC curriculum really makes you feel like you're accomplishing great things academically when in fact you're not. I would honestly say this goes for the elementary curriculum as well as the challenge curriculum, which is for the middle school grades and high school grades. I don't feel quite the same way about the essentials program, which is the writing and grammar program. If you stay in it all 3 years, I feel like at the end of those 3 years, you'll have a writer who is equipped. Do I think that there are other writing and grammar curriculums that do a better job? Yes, I actually do. However, I'm not going to make a blanket statement and say that all of the CC curriculum is poorly done because the writing curriculum is actually not terrible. I do think that other things are better, and I use other things now that are better, but I don't want to cast that one into the fire because it's not horrible. So the majority of the CC curriculum gives the illusion of academic rigor, when in fact it is a lot of busy work. And we diligently accomplished this busy work, week after week after week, because I didn't want my kids going to community day and not having things memorized. This is for the elementary ages, the foundations ages. So we sang the songs, we memorized the things, we did our map work, all of those things. My kids really did not learn anything from that whatsoever. It was, a lot of checking boxes, which, hey, as an oldest daughter, I love checking boxes. So it took me a while to really understand that deeper connections were not happening. The kids were really not mastering anything, and they didn't walk away with a deep understanding of how anything connected. Basically, it's busy work in classical clothing. So this next one, I actually really paid for this a lot in stress. Point number 2, the brightest kids at CC end up bouncing. The most capable kids that I observed at CC really didn't end up staying there for more than a few years before their parents realized that this was not cutting the mustard. CC is an extraordinarily expensive program when you have a lot of children in it. Okay, if you just have one, it's really not that bad. It doesn't seem that bad, but at one point, I think I had 7 kids, maybe 8 kids in at the same time. 5 of those kids were in challenge, and then I had 3 or 4 in foundations and 1 or 2 in essentials. Like, it adds up. And so if you're not getting a big benefit out of that, it does not make any sense. And I think the parents of the truly bright kids, the kids that I wanted my children living up to and emulating, those kids were not staying around long enough to end up in challenge where the real conversations were happening. And so, the whole draw, these, brilliant, well thought out arguments and conversations that happen in high school, they never really ended up happening. Some of the really smart kids, their parents were paying for a bunch of supplementary classes, which, that's fine if you can afford paying the CC tuition and paying for a bunch of extra supplementary classes. But the kids who were just doing the CC curriculum, they were just not flourishing in the way that I thought that they would. Why? Because classical conversations is just really not enough. They needed a real challenge, real literary analysis, real writing instruction, real accountability, and the parents that realized all of this pulled their kids. So I started asking myself, why am I trying to supplement so much? If I have to add this much to make this curriculum work, maybe this curriculum doesn't work. And the truth is, the parent oftentimes actually becomes a servant to the program. That is, the parents who are actually participating. So point number 3 is you serve the program, not the program serving you. So you spend all week trying to prepare your kids for community week, trying to prepare for being gone all day long, and not really focusing on preparation for educating your children. And that's backwards. I don't actually need a full-time job preparing to meet someone else's structure, especially when that structure isn't actually getting the job done. I need a structure that supports my goals for my children. And when I looked around me, I saw other moms who were just as burned out as I was, just as frustrated with the lack of actual education happening as I was, frustrated with the lack of behavioral standards, stressed out and secretly dreading those CC days. And that dread usually starts with a broken co-op. Point number 4. Lazy co-ops disguised as communities. So again, I want to emphasize not all CC campuses are created equal. There are some truly wonderful ones out there, but others, they are just glorified playdates in matching t-shirts. And I say matching t-shirts tongue in cheek because there were no matching t-shirts. If there was, I would have gotten on board with that. There was no accountability, no excellence, no fruit. So if you want to avoid wasting your time, there are some questions that you need to ask yourself. Number 1, are those older children flourishing, the ones in middle and high school? Is there actual academic growth? Are the tutors trained and competent? Do I want my children looking up to the middle and high school kids as role models? Are they raising the standard and making my child want to meet that standard? If any of those answers are not a resounding yes, feel free to walk away, especially when the main reason that you're sticking around isn't even the academics anymore. So point number 5, and this is actually the one that kept me for longer than I should have stayed, is that CC becomes a glorified social club. I have to be honest with you, I made a lot of wonderful friends at CC. I am still friends with these people, so I don't want to come across as, just bashing everything about it. There are lovely, lovely, lovely families at CC. But at a certain point, you have to realize that you're staying for the community and not for the education. If the academics are not there, then you are paying this, expensive tuition for a glorified social club. Do not confuse fellowship with fruit. And I will also add, if you want to keep going just for the fellowship, that's okay. I'm not bashing that at all. If your kids need some extra FaceTime with friends, then this might be a way to get it. It's just really expensive. It's an expensive way to accomplish that goal. So if this sounds familiar, if you're saying, yes, Ashley, I've noticed all of this, I want to give you the exact plan that I use to reclaim my homeschool. Everything that I've shared so far is exactly what I've used to create my homeschool rescue plan. It's the reset that I wish that someone had handed me actually probably more like 10 years ago, not just 4 years ago. So if you're already like, Ashley, I need your help now, you can stop talking, I've got you. The rescue plan is actually totally free and you can get the link in the description box below. Okay, let's keep going. Point number 6, weak academics in super important areas. Okay, let's be honest here. CC often falls short in 2 areas that matter the most, in my opinion, math and writing. The high school math and the middle school math, it's vague and unstructured. I've already said that the essentials it's pretty good, okay? But the middle school and high school, I'm not a huge fan of that. I had, 2 high schoolers complete senior thesis with CC. It was a year-long journey basically through, researching and creating your own senior thesis, and then they would present it at the end of the year. It was okay. I didn't have a whole lot of experience with senior thesis up until then, so it was okay. My daughter, who is my 4th child, just finished her senior thesis class this year with Memoria Academy. And let me tell you, it is a night and day difference in the rigor and the final product. My daughter's senior thesis is so much more in depth and mature subject matter, and accomplishes her points. There's so much logic built into it. It's really, it's a completely different class, a different cut above than the same senior thesis projects basically in CC. And let's talk about math. It is barely addressed. Now, I know that CC is coming up with their own math program now. I don't know a whole lot about that because I left when it was still in its testing phases and our campus was being used to test it. It didn't make a whole lot of sense to me, but I wasn't spending a whole lot of time trying to understand it either. But when we were there, math was not a huge emphasis whatsoever. Do your math at home, they would say, and that's all fine. When we get to the senior stuff though, not the high school stuff, I sat in on several of these challenge classes and they were just, everybody was all over the place in math ability. And so it was hard to have any sort of, real instruction there. So if your child doesn't already have strong support at home for that writing instruction and that math instruction or taking supplementary classes, they tend to fall behind. And most campuses just don't have the bandwidth to fix that. And, quite frankly, it's not part of the description. It's not part of the job description for them to fix that. That's when I realized something sobering. Point number 7, no good fruit. I looked around and I asked myself, where are the kids that I want my kids emulating? And the answer was they weren't at CC. The ones who had a super strong moral compass, the ones who were academic firepowers, the ones who loved learning and read voraciously and could think deeply, they were almost never a product of a CC education. That realization hit really hard, but it also gave us the clarity to walk away. So if any of this resonated with you, I want you to know that you are not crazy. You're not failing, and you're not alone. I actually did another CC video about 1.5 years, maybe 2 years ago, and you can check that out up here. Even more reasons why we left. That was when it was a lot more fresh. Now, we've been gone. This is our 3rd year that we've been gone. And so it's starting to fade into a fuzzy memory. But if you want more reasons or more explanation, feel free to check that video out. And if you want perspective on homeschooling outside of the CC bubble, then I highly recommend that you check out my last 2 videos. My video, I've homeschooled for 18 years, and here's what I would never do again. You can find that here. And my homeschool hacks video, which is all of the little things that I've learned along the way that make the homeschool day go so much smoother. You can check that out here. I'll also link those below in the description box for you. And don't forget to grab that free homeschool rescue plan. That link is also in the description box. Let this be the year when you stop surviving homeschool and start leading it with confidence and with clarity. You don't have to follow the crowd. You just have to follow the fruit. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.